Today's topic, which I would like to take, is the Cuban Missile Crisis, which took place in October 1962. Now, there were certain events which led to the this crisis. So, Fidel Castro, okay, he took over control of Cuba, okay, by overthrowing the regime of Fulgencio Batista. So Batista was a dictator. So Castro overthrew his power and took control. Now, initially, Castro was not known as a communist, so the US adopted a wait and watch approach. But over a period of time, it was very clear that the inclination of Cuba towards USSR kept growing. So, Dwight Eisenhower, okay, cut off diplomatic ties with Cuba and started planning for overthrowing the Castro regime and establishing a government which was friendly towards United States, a puppet regime, as they say. So that happened. And then Kennedy came to power. So the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, briefed Kennedy about the plans to overthrow the Castro regime. Now, following this, uh, the US started planning uh, for the invasion of Cuba. Okay, so Bay of Pigs. Okay, that was chosen as the area where the landing would take place because they wanted to it was for deception purposes because they were expecting least resistance, okay, in that area. Unfortunately, that area was far away from the escape point or refuge point, so and in Escambray Islands mountains. So that was a disadvantage. Nevertheless, they chose that point. But there were certain factors which went against the Bay of Pigs invasion. Now, the US was very clear that they would give full support to the Cuban exile forces against the Castro regime, okay, to overthrow the Castro regime. So Jose Miro Cardino was the leader of the exile forces, and he was given full support. However, there were certain factors which went against the US and the exile forces. For example, the bombers, the B-26 bombers used in this invasion were obsolete of the World War II period, and they repainted the Cuban airplanes with, or rather, the B-26 bombers with the Cuban colors of the Cuban airplanes. Okay, but however, but this was right known to the public later on, and even and also the bombers missed their targets, many of the targets. So this was a failure. This airstrike was a failure as such, and following this, Kennedy called off the second airstrike. So what followed later was a heavy counterattack by Fidel Castro's army troops against the exile forces, and within a few days, the invasion was crushed. So Kennedy was disappointed with this, and to make amends for this, he started planning for Operation Mongoose. There were two aims of this operation. First was to undermine the Castro regime, overthrow his rule, and second, if necessary, uh, go for the assassination of Castro. Okay, so they started exploring the possibilities. So these events, this sequence of events led Cuba to seek support from USSR. The USSR supported them with nuclear weapons, but they told them to keep it a secret until it is fully operational. Now there were spies on either sides. Okay, spies on the side of US also and spies on the side of USSR also. So a US U-2 spy plane, okay, in October 1962, okay, flew over Cuba, and they discovered the installation of the missiles, the site of installation of missiles, and this started the Cuban missile crisis. Uh, US was apprehensive because of this discovery, and Kennedy ordered naval blockade to prevent further missiles from reaching Cuba. Uh, then the then head of Soviet Union, Khrushchev. Okay, Nikita Khrushchev initially denied, okay, that they have any presence of nuclear uh, missiles in Cuba. In fact, they said that the act of naval blockade would be considered as an act of war. So that happened, but eventually they stopped the transit of further missiles to Cuba. And in this period of the crisis was very crucial because the both the nations, okay, they were both were superpowers and they had come to the brink of nuclear warfare, which would have definitely affected the world itself. So it was a very problematic situation and dangerous situation. So that's that. So, but Kennedy, okay, it is an interesting thing. They say that before the crisis began, he had read a book. Kennedy had read a book called as Guns of August, written by Barbara Tuchman. So this is regarding World War One. Okay, it clearly shows this book clearly shows how leaders made mistakes, which escalated into World War One. What leaders could have done, what leaders, what mistakes they did, and what could go wrong, okay, if leaders are not careful. Okay, so he approached the whole situation with a calm demeanor, okay, from the beginning itself, and was very clear that there should not be some other book written on this particular aspect of the crisis. So he was very clear on that, and he approached it with a very calm demeanor. So his statesmanship came to the fore. uh, USSR said that, okay, it's all fine, but there are Jupiter missiles installed by US in Turkey, which is a threat to USSR. So remove that first. So Kennedy agreed to do that. Okay, and also he gave assurance that there won't be any further invasion of Cuba. So USSR also removed the missiles from Cuba, and the whole thing was over in 2 weeks. So what could have been a serious nuclear warfare and serious threat to the world, that was eventually resolved peacefully, okay, and diplomatically by both nations. So Khrushchev came out of this whole episode with a lot of criticism because of his reckless decision making. But Kennedy was appreciated for his calm demeanor and statesmanship. Now, USSR, US, and Great Britain, okay, they all signed a treaty, okay, which banned nuclear tests, underwater or atmospheric. But this did not stop the arms race, which was going to follow. So this was about the Cuban Missile Crisis. I hope you liked this video. If you like this video, please click on the like button and do share it with others. And please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.